failure to invest because people were being told that black folks were just going to naturally show up and vote. That nonsense. Listen, folks, let that be in the graveyard of history in 2024. Let us never see that. But I worry that folks aren't learning, because what they're saying instead is that this was a year of identity politics and that was the problem, that we didn't have enough economic populism, all of the rest of this mess that's not burned out by any history. Go ahead, Lewis.
Unfortunately, we don't learn well because we went through this in 2016, but I won't dwell on that. What I'm going to dwell on the fact is that young people, to their credit, have been listening to a little few of the old people, because I see them in terms of environmental justice, taking a lead on the issues that's affecting the quality of life they live. But they're listening to their old folks and parents, and they're starting to do victory gardens and doing things that are self-sustaining. I applaud you for doing that, because the time is coming, the wise only knows when we're going to have to rely on each other as we did once before. So please learn all you can from your grandma and anybody else who can tell you how to survive when you have a crisis, because we will be in a crisis.
And you know, Louis, that's a great point that you pick up on, and talking about our young voters learning from those that came before them. And I would argue, because Barbara, I gotta push back on one piece though. We got to remember there were some high pieces to 2024, right? We know the young voters turned out in Alabama, and not only did they turn out, but they were showing up, because what happened after the Allen versus Milligan case, that we end up having a new congressional district, CD2, down in Alabama that was created, and now they've elected the African-American into that position who is a Gen Z or is a young millennial. So we do have those positives that are there, and not to mention, Barbara, I know you want to talk about this one, the two black females for the first time in the United States history that were elected to the U.S. Senate that will be serving in the same term. Angela also Brooks in our hometown here of Maryland, and Lisa Blunt, Rochester in Delaware, Barbara.
Oh, yes, and also all the people who were elected to Congress. We had more young people elected to Congress. We had also, some beautiful, amazing people like Latifah Simon and others, elected to the Congress, who will be powerful voices. You think that Jazz was bringing it? Wait till you hear what Latifah got to say. Woo, folks, we got some changes coming up. But I also want to really emphasize something that TJC talked about all year when we were talking about our Rise and Vote campaign and the work that we did around the country in all 14 of our targeted states and 26 states in general. I just want people to be very, very clear that we, we're fighting against all of the bad information that was flowing into the black community. They were spending millions of dollars to say, don't vote. Millions of dollars to take our issues and gaslight them, like reparations, no vote. I mean, like somehow, Trump is going to somehow, be a reparations king. I mean, come on, folks. We have to really understand this era that we're in of AI, of deep fakes, of misinformation, disinformation. We must do that, and that's why we're so proud of our young people, because that's what they fought so effectively around this country, and that's what we got to keep fighting. People, I know this show is going fast, but I want to ask each and every one of you, who would have been your Time Person of the Year? If you had been able to select the Time Person of the Year, who would that have been? Terry.
Honestly, Barbara, that would have been Kamala Harris for me. It's not just because she was such an amazing candidate. It's that she absolutely turned around the people who wanted to vote for progressive ideas. She and were really struggling with Joe Biden, frankly. For all his good things, the people were struggling with him. And Kamala Harris came in. She did make the campaign joyful. She had 100 days. No one in the history of this country has ever been able to win the presidency with that short of a timeline compared to her the person competing against her. She just did an extraordinary job. And people are out there saying, oh, she should have done this, she should have done that. Look, her politics are not as progressive as mine. She doesn't promote Medicare for all. She doesn't promote free college education, which I think we should have. Instead, what I'm hearing a lot of is, well, low-income people just don't need to go to college. Let's say that, and we'll keep college expensive and price everybody out of it. So I'm just saying, not perfect, but absolutely should have been the Time Person of the Year.
Thank you. Wow. Come on, Lewis. Who should have been Time Person of the Year?
Oh, you've already called her name a number of times, Miss Jasmine Crockett out of Texas. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, sister, because she keeps it real. She does her homework. She's not afraid to speak truth to power, and she shows she's basically a Dr. Barbara Arnwine clone and telling it like it is.
Daryl.
Lewis, there are so many Congresswoman Crockett moments that you can point to, whether it was the confrontation with Marjorie Taylor Greene, confrontation with all the members of. I mean, my goodness, there's just so many moments you could pick up there. But I appreciate that. Makayla, who will be your Time Person of the Year?
I have to say, Carrie took the words right out of my mouth. Kamala Harris would have been my Time New Person of the Year. Honestly, hands down, Carrie touched on so many things, like her having 100 days and still rallying people and not using, hate, but inspiration and love and the original founding principles America was supposed to be, to run her campaign and try to ignite change and try to fuel unity throughout our country. But not only that, Kamala Harris, as a young Black woman myself, she inspired people of color. It doesn't matter what your political party is. It doesn't matter what your creed is. It doesn't matter if you're a man, you're a woman. All people of color were very inspired, and we needed that because we have seen time and time again white men, taking over this platform, sitting in the highest seat, globally, being the leader of the free world, and her just running in, the 20th century. Her running alone allowed people like me to realize, okay, my dreams are not out of reach. Even if I don't win, I still have to get up and try. And even when I get knocked down, I still have to, just try. Because the worst thing, like we get told us all the time, the worst thing we could ever be told is a no. And then when we're told no, we try again, and we try again, and we try again. So honestly, Kamala Harris would have to be my Person of the Year.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, Professor Quarles. You're on mute, Professor Quarles.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm back. It's interesting. Kamala Harris for me also, but for different reasons. Clearly the dignity and grace that she carried herself with, took me back to, what Black women have always been about: excellence, pure excellence, unadulterated excellence. From the history of this nation, the core of our nation's soul and spirit, for me, has always been embedded in the Black woman. And I think she embodied that significantly. But for me, the reason that I think she's so critically important, even going forward as a figure in this time and moment in 2024, is that I think she can be the potential lightning rod for unearthing a lot of other systemic problems that exist within the Black community that we need to resolve. And so for me, That's my primary reason for kind of giving her that acknowledgement for Person of the Year.
Thank you. Thank you to all our guests. I can't believe it, Daryl. Woo, we needed another hour. Woo! There's just so much to talk about. Thank you for everything you said. Thank you for all the elucidations. This is such a powerful show. Just quickly, Ernie, we just want people just quickly, without a statement, just how do people get in touch with you, sir?
Sure. They can reach me either at my email address, equarles1@jhu.edu or abtrlfent@gmail.com. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Daryl.
Thank you. Louis, how do people reach you, sir?
Having a disaster, I'll show up. No, it's just Elisa2 at AOL.com.
Thank you so much. Terry, how do people reach you, ma'am?
Well, I can be reached on Blue Sky now. I'm at Terry O'Neill. Terry, yeah, I'm Blue Sky. And by the way, I had to tell a friend of mine who is from Brooklyn, no, it's not pronounced Blue Ski, it's Blue Sky.
Obviously a beer drinker.
Right, yeah.
He probably was hip. That's what we say, Blue Ski.
Yeah. All right now. All right. And how do we reach you, Makayla?
You guys, everyone can find me on Instagram at KKAY, the number 4, PA. But they can also find me at Transformative Justice Coalition because that is where I will be. Thank you again, Attorney Daryl Jones and Dr. Barbara Arnwine for pouring into me. That's where I am going to stay. We are family. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being brilliant, just brilliant. We're so proud of you and so proud of all of the wonderful TJC alumni that are out there. We love you. We can't wait to be working with you in this coming year. We will be in Virginia, people, for the elections. We will be in New Jersey, people, for the elections. We know that there are 20 states with elections coming up in 2025. Look for us. Make sure to donate to tjcoalition.org. Go to tjcoalition.org to donate to us. Daryl, take us home.
Thank you, Barbara. Absolutely. We certainly thank all of our guests that were with us today, Louis, Elisa, and Terry O'Neill, and Professor Ernie Quarles and Makayla Myers. Certainly true appreciation. Want to be certain that each of you have a great New Year's Eve and a great 2025 as it is coming up. Folks, we say it, and we say it again. There's so many issues that came up in 2024, whether, it was the election of the 2 black women to the U.S. Senate, whether it was the creation of the new Congressional District 2 in Alabama. There were so many things that were positive, but it only happened because we got out there and we pushed for it and we pushed to vote for it, and we made it happen. We encourage you to go to tjcoalition.org. Donate to us so we continue to be out there. We can continue to be out there pushing. We have prosecutors like Letitia James to be thankful for, Alvin Bragg to be thankful for. And most importantly, let's remember the lives of John Amos, who we lost this year, as well as President Jimmy Carter. Folks, it's time to get off of the sidewalks, get into the streets, get in some good trouble, register people to vote, and put your hand to the plow and get involved, and let's dig up some good trouble and get things moving. Until next Tuesday, noon, Eastern Standard Time, Happy New Year and peace, everybody.
Happy Kwanzaa, everyone. Happy Kwanzaa. Today is Kuumba. Peace.
Creativity.
Peace.
Was paid for by Barbara Arnwine.
If you came across a child struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you recognize a 13-year-old boy who gets into fights at school?
Not because he's a boy, but because he's hungry?
Or a 2-year-old girl who cries all night, not because she's sick,
but because she went to bed without enough to eat?
Or maybe a 9-year-old boy who hopes a friend invites him to a sleepover,
not for fun, just so we can have dinner.
Or a 15-year-old girl who goes for walks over lunch,
so her friends won't know she doesn't have anything to eat?
I am the 1 in 7 American children who struggle with hunger. Kids you pass by every day, but never knew were hungry. I am child hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org.